don't color me too surprised. Gina Carano, days after apologizing for a past post, was fired after making a recent post on, well, it appears to be a TikTok or Instagram. I'm not sure. I was given this, so I'm not, it's really not relevant what platform it was posted on. But this particular post is what's being kind of portrayed on why Gina was fired. Now, I'm not going to try to outrage farm here. I'm just going to give you what was said and my opinion and the way I personally read the tweet. Now, this tweet is being promoted as sort of the Gina's politics and comparing them to Holocaust survivors and victims. I don't think that's personally the case if you actually read it. But if you wanted Gina Carano out, I doubt you care how she was put out to pasture. And she was recently given a show. And I don't know how that's going to work out in the future if they're going to replace the character Cara Dune. That's not the kind of stuff I'm interested in. But I'll leave that to Andy Signor and other folks. But this is what she wrote: Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could be easily rounded up by thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that political? How is that any different from hating somebody for their political views? Now, if you read that, it's not saying I'm a Holocaust. I'm the equivalent of a Holocaust survivor. It's we're getting there. That's it. Now, if you find that utterly ridiculous, over the top, yeah, maybe. But she certainly, when you actually read the statement, she's not comparing herself. What she's saying is, when you start othering other people based on either race or religion or political views, it can get bad really, really quick. Now, I probably should be outraging farming here. I'll probably get more hits. But I tend to agree with the statement. I think the offensive part here is she put the picture, the cover of the single for Nazi Punks F Off by the Dead Kennedys, and this is an extremely graphic picture of Germans chasing what probably is a person of Jewish descent in Germany during the 30s and 40s. And it's very concerning. Now, I personally don't believe that she was saying I'm like a Holocaust victim. I'm saying this is once we start to demonize people that don't agree with mainstream views, we could potentially get there. So you could say it's a slippery slope fallacy. You could say it's a warning for the future. Maybe even you could make the argument she's trying to get people to de-escalate. Now, I don't know if this is a smart move for somebody who's under really the microscope as it was, as far as getting along in Hollywood. But then again, I would also say that's the problem with Hollywood, that if you must pander or be silent on your political views if they don't align with mainstream Hollywood, with mainstream Hollywood. Now, I have heard a report by Andy Signor, and he says his sources are telling him, I'm sorry for the misgender there. Sorry, Andy. Yeah, definitely a he. That I know of. But what he's been told is Jon Favreau, who I thought was Italian, is apparently half Jewish. And this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, look, this is an anonymous source that was given to Andy. I don't know whether to believe it or not, but, it does. Gina's gotten away with a lot of stuff under a lot of pressure from a lot of blue check marks in the past. This may be the straw that broke the camel's back, because I think it makes a certain amount of sense, because Favreau probably could have said, no. But, you could make the argument, even from a left-wing perspective, wait a minute, now you're mad because it hit you personally, which is a totally reasonable question. I see this all the time. If I criticize YouTubers, make fun of them, that's great until I get to your YouTuber. And, this is a kind of manifestation is probably the wrong word, rather a comparison. This is something that, he finds personally offensive and gets out there. And that's all if this is true. as follows. I'm not saying that I don't trust Andy's sources, but I know how sources work, and sometimes they BS a line, what have you. Now, to give credence to what she's saying, I think if you take a look, and this is what I don't think she's comparing herself to a Holocaust victim. I think she's talking about stuff like this. I'm just going to take some random stuff here. Jake Tapper, Trump supporters still questioning election results, need to be held accountable for MAGA terrorism. You know, questioning election results, whether that be outrageous or not, is still a political opinion. We're not supposed to have accountability. And I think this kind of stuff she's talking, they're othering people that disagree with them. And certainly not all Trump supporters agree or participate in the Capitol riot. So held accountable. Well, what do you mean by that? Glenn Greenwald, he claims that the ruling class defines insurgency as anyone who has an ideology other than neoliberalism. Now, Mr. Greenwald was actually, he left, was kind of forced out after one of his articles was heavily edited, a publication that he founded. And he claims the reason for that I mean, it being heavily edited, was when he was covering the Hunter Biden case, is because that he doesn't hold, and he is a liberal, 100% the neoliberal ideology. So yeah, you're seeing stuff like this. Here's some more concerning stuff by Representative Cynthia Johnson. She said, "So this is just a warning for you, for you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for all of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay. Love y'all." This is coming from, this is now we have a member of the news media, a prominent member of the news media, and now a prominent member of the Democratic Party talking about accountability for dissent. Kurt Schilling was recently, I mean, the idea that he's not in the Hall of Fame is completely ridiculous. Of course, he's a Trump supporter, and his lucky him, his Hall of Fame vote came up shortly after the Capitol riot. And he claims a group of people are 90% white, lecturing me on diversity and racism. Yes, that's a good point. So I think what Gene is trying to say is you have this sort of othering of a political ideology that does not fit into Hollywood, and in even a kind of a bigger scope, you're seeing it well outside the halls of Marvel Studios, Disney, and Lucasfilms. That if you don't fall in the line or choose to be silent, if you don't fall into line and do not choose to either be silent or pander, this is the road that we're going down to othering other people, because it doesn't happen overnight. I live in Germany. It didn't happen overnight here. In order to take people out of their houses. Now, I live in Wiesbaden, Germany, and the soldiers did come through here. Now, this is a major city. You had to have a political and cultural change for other Germans to allow this. If you take what happened at the Bundestag, supposedly, communists and Jews were being, were blamed for the fire that took place there. They were able to kind of other the other people. She's not saying it's that we're there yet, in my opinion. See, we're going down that road. And I've seen it personally, making opinions and being compared with QAnon or an insurgent or a traitor. And I served the military, and I, with distinction, and at least I think so. And I was giving an honorable discharge, and I don't agree with the mainstream media or mainstream Hollywood about politics at all. And to be called somebody a QAnon conspiracy insurgent, a traitor, because I've been kind of a supporter of Donald Trump. I haven't been a hardcore supporter by any stretch, but I'm not going to sit there and lie. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I did. And, you start seeing stuff from Cynthia Johnson. You start seeing stuff from Jake Tapper. This can be pretty frightening. And nobody is de-escalating. To me, this is a call for de-escalating. And that's all it is. And I think I'm not going to jump on the cancel, although I have personally canceled Disney. I'm going to leave that up to you if you want to do that. I'm not going to sit there and lecture somebody at this. I personally don't feel like giving money to these folks anymore. I don't want to give money to American companies. I'd almost rather do it to a foreign company that doesn't believe in free speech, that thinks there should be punishment for saying let's pretend for a second this is completely outrageous. All right, I made the argument why it's not. Let's say it's completely and totally out to lunch, completely and totally outrageous. I don't think somebody should be punished, even if that be the case. No, period. That's it. No dice. This is garbage. This is trash, and it does appear to be happening only on one particular ideology. And if you take Pedro Pascal, admittingly he's a more important part of the show. I mean, he compared a Nazi. He compared folks that support Trump to Nazis. Yeah, I mean, look, he's a bigger star. There's no doubt about it. But you're certainly not seeing it on both sides, and that would be a part of the othering, so to speak. So, very unfortunate. I don't expect her to come back. I expect her to be blacklisted from Hollywood. I would hope that if Andy Signore's source is correct, that Jon Favreau would calm down and take a look at the tweet, maybe even talk to her, and maybe this thing can be worked out. But I do not believe that will be the case. I probably, and usually the way this stuff goes, I got Gina, they're gonna get somebody else next. So that's it. That's all I got for you. Sorry I didn't do the outrage thing. I'll leave that to other YouTube commentators, and I'm certainly never going to do the celebration thing, which will be also commonplace. You want that? Go to Twitter. Bye.